Hello, gang. How are you? It's me, Galen. Galen's got Parkinson's. I want to talk to you today about campaign maps. That's the very thing, yeah. And I've always done campaign maps. I always do. If I move my head like that, on the wall behind me is a campaign map that we use for Test of Honour. I've done a couple of videos recently of Test of Honour games, the first two scenarios in the rulebook, and I lost them both to myself, which made me very cross. I wanted to do the third scenario, and I also wanted to consider what would really happen in my world if a neutral, relatively insignificant younger son of some nobody daimyo made a family insult on a big clan, a big super clan. And I thought, well, they're going to batter him. They're going to wander into his territory and leather him. This is where a map's important, because when I look at the map, the kingdom where it all started, this shrine, is in the mountains. And their sort of seat of government is high in the mountains. Now, I don't want to take an army of 17th century Japanese feudal troops into that environment. And I know that because I've got a map. If I didn't have a map, it'd just be a series of... It'd be like watching football, but every game was a friendly. And nobody cared. You know, you've got... Maps are important. In war and in games and battles, you fight for things. You might fight for an ideology, but often you fight for a geographical reason. I want your territory. I want that access to that resource. I want to have a road that goes right that way. And once a war starts, you've then got to need evidence where you're going. I'm moving. I want to capture that town. I can't cross that river. That's fordable. I can go that way. I'll build a fort here. That'll block off that bridge. And it develops the whole scenario, and it feeds the entire game. Now, I started wargaming informally as a child. Like probably we all did. I had Epic Soldiers and I had Timpo Cowboys, but the catalyst for my gaming and mapping came, and I know exactly when it was, Christmas Day 1966, and I was 9. I know it's Christmas Day because my brother and I got 2 presents. They're identical presents, really. We both got an Action Man, and we got Subbuteo to play together. And we got the idea of using our Action Men as soldiers, real soldiers, not isolated soldiers, but by collecting little star things you got on the boxes, you could send off and get more. I think we got 21 stars. You can have another Action Man. I think we ended up with about half a dozen each in the end. And me dad got some big crates from work, and we had all the bunk beds in them and lockers and everything. And they went under the bed. But so we had this idea over the Christmas holiday that we would treat our beds as little ships, and the Action Man and some random other toys would be crew, and we would sail our ships and we would discover islands. I just gotta remember, I was 9, so my brother was 4 years younger than me, so I was only 5. So you know, it's not overly sophisticated, this, but we sort of said, we'll set off, and then we'll got a big piece of paper in a sketchbook, and first day it's our own bedroom, and so we try and work out where wardrobes might be mountains. I had a brown carpet with hexagons and green edging. So I made that farmland. My brother had a sort of, it didn't go wall to wall, his carpet, he had like a blue and then a rug. So he had like that he can consider that to be like almost like a sort of circular, almost like a moat. So we did that, and we had sort of our beds as castles where we lived, and then we went and we did Mum and Dad's bedroom, we did the landing, and we did the stairs, and we did the kitchen, and we did the living room, we did the dining room, and we ended up like a little archipelago of islands that we named and we played with. And then we decided that we'd have half each, and we used our airfix soldiers to defend and attack each other in these various islands. And over time that grew, and we discovered other islands and different things happened, and the islands had resources, and so we needed this to happen. So it grew, but it sort of cemented that idea right from the start of campaigning. Now, when I was a teenager, again, alongside becoming a wargamer, the games we played as teenagers after school were things like Risk, Diplomacy, and best of all, Kingmaker. Now, Kingmaker's stunning, isn't it? I mean, I play Kingmaker now. It's a fantastic game. And it's got a brilliant map and a good rule system. So you move up roads to towns. You can move faster if you're on a road than if you're going over land. And it was very easy to then build that into wargaming, because I started wargaming doing Napoleonic 25mm Hinchcliffe. Then I started to get minifigs, miniature figurines from Southampton, Middle Earth, and Tolkien's done all the maps for you. So again, we can set it in places. I had wood elves from the north of Mirkwood. I knew where my wood elves were. I've got a map, I've got to unravel it from the back of the Lord of the Rings. And you could get posters, can't you? I bet you still can. I haven't got any, but we used to have big colour posters of Lord of the Rings. That's why I'm there. So that, it was all there for you. And then we progressed from that, and I got involved, I got interested in Lamming, Bill Lamming from Hull. And Bill did a superb book of campaigning, which really excited a lot of us at the Wargames Club. We're about 15, 16. And you start off with a sort of baron and a certain number of men, and you sail to this new island, and you all do it from different directions. And then you can work out resources, and you have to sail back, and you have to risk not being sunk, and then you have to borrow money, and then you have to sort of come back and start farming it and bring settlers and horses. And the whole thing is, it's like 100 rules about settling the island. It's very, very detailed. I did, quite early on when I was doing these YouTube things, do a video about it. So it's there somewhere. I'll do another one, I think, just more about Bill Lamming. And Bill was a very interesting man. And the figures were great. They looked a bit like, if you ever see medieval bestiaries and pictures like Agincourt, and the archers are sort of, they've not quite got the perspective right, and they're all bendy. They all looked a bit like that to me. Some good nuns and ladies with big wimples. So we sort of Bill's rules to set up campaigns. So I sort of really got it into my head that campaigning was always going to be the way to go. I mean, if you're doing a historical game, then you can use historical maps. That's fantastic. That's what I tried to do with my Dark Ages campaign. It's what I tried to do with my American Civil War campaign, my English Civil War campaign. I don't need to invent maps for that. The fantasy, we started a game in about 1988. And it started off with one war game on a snooker table no, table tennis table. And the winner, we threw a d6, and that's how many squares they captured. We didn't draw in anything in them because we didn't need to. We weren't allowed to go back till we'd filled the entire map. And then the next game we fought, and the winner again did the same, and they owned them squares. And we diced for what was in squares. And if there was, turns out there's a town here, and there's a town here, and there's a river here. Well, it must have had a bridge, roads. And so slowly it starts to evolve. And over time, a long time, it's now an entire world, going from deserts and high mountains like the Himalayas to jungles and forests, and from sort of Eastern type civilizations to necromancers and orcs and dark elves, dwarfs in the deep mines. It's got a whole world. It's got currency, it's got languages, it's got religions, it's got poetry, and everything that happens is written down. So I like that, and I would advocate always having a campaign map. A friend of mine told me about a book he read, and I can't remember what book it was. I'm sure he'll tell me at some point. He's on here, he watches sometimes. But he was saying you get like a map, like say Republic of Ireland, or the whole of Ireland. And what you do is you turn it upside down. Not like that. It's just like Blackadder. It's a barren, featureless world out there. You swivel it around like that. So you can, and then you forget all the names are upside down and things. You can put little labels on them, make your own names up. But the entire country changes if you swivel it round, and then you can sort of make it fantasy-y and get rid of stuff. I'm a big fan of drawing my own. I like drawing my own maps, just because I do. It's fun. I must admit, now I've got Parkinson's, the coastline's a lot more wobbly. A lot more like Norway, of fjords. But yeah, that's by the by, isn't it? So yeah, so that's what I do, campaign maps. Have a think about it, see what you think. It's nice to have objectives. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I having a battle? What's the point? If you're just going to have a battle and put it away, that's pointless. Have a battle for a reason. What you captured? Why have you captured it? Where are you going next? Where do you want to go next? Do you want to cut his supply route off? Do you want to outflank him? Do you want to take a major city? There's all sorts of things you can do. And you can think about it. You can have all manner of things you want to think about. And it feeds your imagination, and that's good. Makes you excited. And as you can see, makes me excited, which is not hard, in fairness. So, yeah, that's about it today. So, what I'll say is, ta-ra, Chuck.